Everybody shut up and action. Is The Devil Wears Prada a good movie? Heck yeah. Okay, so this is a really, really interesting movie. It's a look into the fashion industry and just like a question on what life is, what path you want to pursue, and what the world makes you to be. Kinda. So the story is essentially about this girl who is looking for a way into the journalism industry because she's got a degree or something in journalism and wants to be a writer, editor for some paper, newspaper, or some media outlet, something like that. I don't remember the entire thing clearly because that wasn't like the key concept of the movie that I was taking away. But the entire point of the entire story of the movie was this girl wants to go into that field, but she needs a job to start, and she somehow lands a job as the assistant for the biggest fashion magazine in New York or something, and like it's the most sought after job by anyone who has any interest in the fashion industry in this movie, so in this world. So she somehow lands this job with no fashion knowledge, or like fashion knowledge to the degree that those fashion people want you to have, and she is constantly being looked at like, what is she wearing, when you think she's looking fine the way she is, the way she's wearing everything, you think she's fashionable, but to them they're like, who the hell let this woman in here? Huh? So it's a look into the environment of the people you surround yourself with in work, in life, and how the differences between that can clash, how the differences between that impact your personality, how you behave, how you dress, how you act, how you prioritize things in life, and how just the people you surround yourself with change you as a person, how they either help you get to your goals or deteriorate yourselves from the path you're taking towards your goals, how the people around you can influence you and influence your relationships with other people, and everything from that standpoint, the relationships you form, the way you attract people towards you, the way your own relationships can be built up or downgrade themselves, the life of working in that type of industry, in the toxic environment, what's required of you, what's not required of you, and the entire relationships you form with the people around you, even if they are toxic. So yeah, I'm throwing toxic around. I don't think that was kind of a word for when this movie came out back in the early 2000s, but I feel like that's the appropriate word. I feel like that's the appropriate word to use right now. This provides a really interesting look into the character played by Anne Hathaway and her entire journey, how she's not really given recognition, how she's eventually given recognition, and how she just navigates through this path and try to figure out what it is she wants in life, how her job is impacting her relationship with her boyfriend, how there are suddenly she's going this path as she learns about fashion, she's attracting more eyes towards her, she's looking for opportunities into her journalism dream goal, and she's attracting people towards herself, even though she already has a boyfriend. She's attracting more work-based relationships, building connections, building knowledge, building a character that is more liked and wanted by people who are in this type of industry. And it's just a really interesting look into the gradual change of a person as they try to chase their goals, and how the people they surround themselves impact you and influence you to change yourself, and how it impacts all your relations. I know I'm repeating myself because that is the entire essence of this movie, and it does really provide a really interesting look into all that kind of hooks you into this movie. It is kind of slow though, and honestly that was my only really complaint, because like the slow pacing this was kind of taking me out of the story here and there, but most of the time I was just kind of engaged, hooked into this story. I really liked the way it was shot, the way the stories were told, the acting performances were beautiful. Meryl Streep killed it as her role, and you really love the chemistry between Meryl Streep and Anne Hathaway in their performances of their characters and how they work together, because the character played by Meryl Streep as like that unlikable fashion industry, fashion magazine type of head honcho boss person who no one likes, but they all well value her opinion because she is the most knowledgeable person in this industry, and how this new assistant is managing to deal with her, how everything's already being messed up in her boss's life, and now that's also translating to her life, and how her lack of interest in this job is just being of a disappointment. And it's honestly just a really interesting look. You both love the relationship and hate it, and you just love to see, and it's just a really interesting look at the relationship they do have and how things progress throughout the entire film. I don't want to say too much on it, but there are times where you're like, what the hell? And other times where you're like, I love this relationship so much. She may be a complete unlikable person, but at the same time it's like, yeah, I like her dedication towards a goal. Because sometimes when you're really passionate about something and other people aren't as passionate as you, even if they are passionate, like you can be passionate about fashion, other people can be passionate about fashion, but at differing levels. The same way you can love to play basketball, but you only play at like a rec level compared to someone who loves basketball and plays at the NBA level. Yes, there are other factors involved with like, oh yes, they loved basketball, but they couldn't make it because they didn't have talent, skill, opportunities, whatever. But there is also a degree of value and love for the sport, or dedication to the sport, or whatever passion it is, in that how much effort you put into it. Like someone who goes to the NBA clearly puts in a lot more effort and a lot more time into their sport compared to someone who hasn't. Yes, there are differences between, there's all those other factors as well, but like there is like a clear, like, yes, talent, two people can put equal effort, and one who has more talent will have more sort of results, but like it just means that the person with less talent needs to put in a lot more effort, I feel like. I mean, I haven't thought that out thoroughly, but like that's kind of, if you really simplify the situation, I feel like it fits in there. But I feel like that's also not the best example. But still, you kind of get the essence of what I'm saying, hopefully. But like, there are different degrees of passions, and when you, like, someone is super passionate about something and someone isn't taking that as seriously when working with them, of course they're going to be pissed off. But yeah, that plays a big aspect in this movie, and it's just this entire relationship between the characters and everyone around this world, and how the fashion industry works. And it's just a really engaging movie, how people screw each other over even though they consider themselves to be good friends, and it makes you really question who really is your friend when you're trying to chase your goals and dreams. Who do you want to surround yourself with? You surround yourself with people who look like they're good, people who will help you develop your career and you want to look up to, but maybe they're not really looking out for you at all. Maybe they will look out for you, but like in ways that will benefit them and not really you in your own time and place. But you know, it's a really interesting movie, and a really interesting look into these characters and how they develop, and just that entire story in general. I really suggest you to watch this movie because I really enjoyed it, and I think you will too. I give this movie a solid 80%. I liked it. I think you will too, so check it out. Peace.